Legal?
Yeah. Okay. My assumption is, yeah. I'll call Sam and check his
She was on the agenda review yesterday, so. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to the July 10th Metropolitan Area Planning Commission. I'm Chair Brian Fry. Thank you all for being here, and I appreciate those who got the leafy shirt polo memo. Last meeting I chaired, I think we had the brightly colored polo shirt, but this time we have leafy shirt. So you could at least done it with the tie, Scott. You know. So all right, enough with the frivolity. Let's get going with opening announcements.
Before we begin the agenda, the Wichita-Sedgwick County Metropolitan Area Planning Commission and the Wichita-Sedgwick County Board of Zoning Appeals would like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone to this public hearing. For those in attendance, copies of the agenda for today's meeting, the public hearing procedure, and planning department staff reports on all agenda items are available in the lobby. The Planning Commission's and the BZA's bylaws limit the applicant on a zoning, subdivision, or variance application and his or her representatives to a total of 10 minutes of speaking time at the start of the hearing on that item, plus up to 2 minutes at the conclusion of that hearing. All other persons wishing to speak on agenda items are limited to 3 minutes per person. However, if they feel that it is needed and justified, the chairman may extend these times by up to 2 minutes. All speakers are requested to state his or her name and address for the record when beginning to speak. When you are finished speaking, please share your name, address, and the case number on the sheet provided in the room. This will enable staff to notify you if there are any additional proceedings concerning that item. All speakers at the podium, please remove your face mask before speaking into the microphone. Please note that all written and visual materials you present to the commission and the board will be retained by the secretary as part of the official record. If you are not speaking, but you wish to be notified about future proceedings on a particular case, please provide your contact information to the planning department. The Planning Commission and the board are interested in hearing the views of all persons who wish to express themselves on all the agenda items. However, we ask that all speakers please be as courteous and concise as possible and avoid long repetitions of facts or opinions which have already been stated. For your information, the Wichita City Council has adopted a policy for all city zoning items. A copy of this policy is available from the planning staff. The City Council relies on a written record of the Planning Commission hearings and does not conduct its own additional public hearings on these items. The decision of the BZA is final. Any appeal of a decision of the BZA is to the district court.
All right, next we will have a roll call of commissioners present. Mr. Wadle, please.
Yes, sir. Fry.
Present.
Mater.
Present.
McKay.
Here.
Dool.
Here.
Bill Johnson is absent. High.
Here.
Nix.
Here.
Klontz is absent. Warren.
Here.
Joe Johnson.
Here.
Miles.
Present.
Zimbelman.
Here.
Aldridge.
Here.
Williams Bay is absent. Sir, I show 3 members absent and 11 members present.
All right, thank you. Next item is the approval of the MAPC meeting minutes from June 26th. Members absent were Fry, Dool, Clontz, and Joe Johnson. We have a motion to approve. We have a motion from Commissioner Warren.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Miles. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All abstain. So motion approves unanimously with the abstention.
I have 3 abstentions on that one.
Should be 4.
Because Clontz is absent.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Math is hard. Next item, there is no BZA agenda today, so we'll move on to the MAPC items to see which items we can move to consent. And we'll go through the subdivision committee recommendations first. Item 2.1 is subdivision 2025-30, a one-step final plat for Cedar Rust Estates, West 39th Street South and South 183rd Street West. Are there any members of the commission who would like to hear this item? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 2.1 to consent. Item 2.2 is subdivision 2025-31, one-step final plat for the Ranch 3rd Edition at approximately East 21st Street North and North 159th Street East. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 2.2 to consent. Pardon me, item 2.3, we talked about getting a staff update on this one. So we will need to hear that unless you just want to give us, or do we need to hear the full case?
I would suggest, sir, perhaps before you consider whether or not to take it on consent, we can just do a quick 2-second update because there was some items that were
Okay.
missing from them when they originally were submitted. He hasn't started speaking quite yet.
So that, for the public, this is subdivision 2025-32, a one-step final plat for the Red Oak 2nd Edition, roughly 101st Street North and North 143rd Street East.
Yes, update on the Red Oak 2nd Edition. Update I had was there were some revisions to the drainage plan that needed to be submitted. Those were submitted to County Stormwater Management on Tuesday, I believe. And so I haven't heard whether those have been reviewed or approved, but their recommended revisions have been submitted for review to County Stormwater. So I'd recommend approving just based on the submittal of the updated drainage plan.
Does anyone from the subdivision want to comment on that? Since you've heard the case already and that update suffice for you?
Yes.
Okay. With that being said, is there any members of the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 2.3 to consent. Thank you, Greg. Item 2.4 is subdivision 2025-33, a one-step final plat for the C3 Edition, West 103rd Street South and South 87th Street West. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 2.4 to consent. Item 2.5, subdivision 2025-34, one-step final plat for the Coulter Ridge Edition. This is approximately West 55th Street South and 500 feet east of South Meridian Avenue. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 2.5 to consent. Item 2.6, subdivision 2025-35, one-step final plat for Summers Addition, south 183rd Street West, and 1/2 mile south of West Pawnee Avenue. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 2.6 to consent.
I move for approval of the subdivision committee's recommendations.
Second.
We have a motion to approve subdivision consent items. Mr. Wadle.
Sir, just a clarification question, and if I may suggest, would it be okay, and would you feel it would be appropriate to approve those on consent, subject to approval of the drainage plan
On
by
item 2.3?
County Public Works for all of the cases? That way, all of them are covered, but
We could make
especially
that a
that
separate motion, just on 2.3.
one. Whichever one you prefer. Yeah,
Whichever
either
Mr.
one.
Johnson would like, how he'd like to amend his motion.
I'll pull 2.3 from that recommendation.
Okay, so the motion, if I understand it, to approve items 2.1, 2.2, 2.4, 2.5, and 2.6 on consent, and a second by Commissioner Miles. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously.
Now I'll make a motion to approve 2.3, subject to the drainage plan being approved.
Second.
All right, everybody clear? We have a motion to approve and it's properly seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Next would be the public hearing on vacation items, but before I read into those, I believe we have staff recommendations on both 3.1 and 3.2 for deferral. You want to address that, Mr. Wadle?
Yes, sir. I'll provide some background. So we had a very dynamic MAPC subdivision committee meeting last week. As part of that, these two cases both had some things that needed to be resolved. For 3.1, there was an issue of the legal description and getting that updated. We have not received the updated legal description, so our recommendation is that you defer that one to the next MAPC meeting. On 3.2, this was where a awning structure had been constructed, and there was some dialogue that was needed between Public Works and the property owner. We contacted Public Works this morning and found out that that is not fully resolved. So at this point, our recommendation is to defer that one to the next MAPC meeting as well.
Okay. With that being said, I make a recommendation to defer items 3.1 and 3.2 to the July 24th, 2025 MAPC meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second by Commissioner Dool. Welcome. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Now, public hearing items. 4.1, conditional use 2025-78 to allow a tavern and drinking establishment at roughly West Douglas Avenue and South Oak Street in Delano. Pardon me. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 4.1 to consent. Item 4.2, conditional use 2025-81 to allow an accessory apartment in the county, South Millsap Drive, which is roughly East 83rd Street South, near that street, sorry. Anyone on the commission like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case?
I would.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Is the applicant or agent for this case present?
Yes, I am.
All right, great, thank you. So we will hear item 4.2. Item 4.3 is a PUD 2025-9. This is a PUD at North Greenwich Road and East Central Avenue, approximately. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 4.3 to consent. Item 4.4 is recommended for denial, so we will hear item 4.4. Item 4.5, zone change request 2025-27 from GO to LC on Highway K42 near South 119th Street West. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 4.5 to consent. Item 4.6 is a zone change request, 2025-28, with a conditional use request, 2025-80, from SF5 to TF3 to allow duplexes near the corner of North Gow and West 11th Street. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case?
Yes.
Couple, all right, thank you. Is the applicant or agent present for this case?
Yes.
You're here? All right, great, thank you. We will hear item 4.6. Item 4.7 is a zone change request with the CUP, Zone 2025-29 and CUP 2025-20. This is roughly on the northeast corner of 39th Street South and South Rock Road. Are there any members of the commission who would like to hear this case? Mr. Aldrich would like to hear item 4.7. Is the applicant or agent present for this case? Okay, thank you. We will hear item 4.7. 4.8 is a zone change request, Zone 2025-30 from SF5 to TF3, approximately located East 39th Street South and South Rock Road. Are there any members of the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? I see raised hands. Okay, is the applicant or agent present for this case? Good, thank you. We will hear item 4.8. Okay, let's finish this real quick. Okay, that is the end of the cases. Mr. Aldrich has a question related to 4.7 that we might be able to avoid hearing the case. Go ahead.
Yeah, and this is more so towards staff. Has there been any other comments, direct comments from McConnell Air Force Base on this?
Hi, good afternoon. Christina Reith with planning staff. Thank you. We have not received any additional comment other than what was forwarded to you guys on Tuesday morning from McConnell.
They're present though.
Oh, but they're also present, so, okay.
Would it be appropriate without hearing the case if I ask representative from McConnell Air Force Base a question?
What,
Best practice would be to hear the matter and then ask questions.
Okay, thank you.
But you still want to hear the case then?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so according to my records, we are going to hear the case. Yes, item 4.7 as well as 4.8. So the way I have it right now is that, well, someone wants to make a motion on the consent items to move to consent, or the items to move to consent, to
So-
approve by consent.
I move to approve agenda item number 4.1, 4.3, and 4.5.
That's what I show. So we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Miles, with a second by Commissioner Zibelman. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes. All right, so now we'll get into our cases. And if I would be so bold as to ask everyone to please remember to put your cell phones on silent or vibrate. We have quite a few cases we need to get through today. Item 4.2.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Raquel Ordonez with planning staff, here to present case conditional CON 2025-0081. The applicants are requesting a conditional use to allow an accessory apartment on property zoned SF20, single-family residential. The subject site is 0.56 acres and is generally located northeast of Hillside and East 83rd Street. The property is currently developed with a single-family dwelling and a pole barn. The applicants desire to construct an accessory apartment inside the existing pole barn structure. The proposed accessory apartment is defined as such because it would have living facilities for sleeping, eating, sanitation, and a kitchen, which requires water and sewer services. The Wichita-Sedgwick County Zoning Code defines an accessory apartment as a dwelling unit which may be wholly within or may be detached from a principal building. And accessory apartments are also subject to the following supplementary use regulations. A maximum of one accessory apartment may be allowed on the same lot as a single-family dwelling unit and may be located within the main building, within an accessory building, or constructed accessory to the structure. The appearance must be compatible with the main dwelling and the character of the neighborhood. The accessory apartment will remain accessory and under the same ownership as the principal single-family dwelling, and the ownership shall not be divided or sold as a condominium. And the water and sewer service shall be provided to the accessory structure shall be the same as the main dwelling. Property to the north of the subject site is zoned SF20 and is developed with a single-family dwelling. Property to the south is also zoned SF20 and developed with a single-family dwelling. Property to the east of the subject site is zoned SF20 and developed with a single-family dwelling. And property to the west of the subject site is zoned rural residential and is currently undeveloped. The subject site has access to South Millsap Drive, a paved 2-county lane street, and the property uses an on-site well and septic tank. The requested conditional use is in conformance with the comprehensive plan, which indicates that the subject site is located within the small city urban growth area and is located within the urban area of influence of the city of Derby. And this case is also scheduled to be heard by the Derby Planning Commission on July 17th. The overall character of the area is rural and low density residential. The subject site, excuse me, sorry. The character of the neighborhood is low density residential. Staff finds the accessory apartment in conformance with this. And we do not anticipate that the approval of this request will detrimentally affect any nearby property. And at the time of this report, we have not received any public comment. And with that, I'll take you through the rest of the pictures. This is the future growth concept map. Next slide, please.
Raquel, Commissioner Aldrich has a question.
Yes.
I'll wait.
Okay. This is looking west towards the property. Next slide, please. This is also looking west towards the property, just a little bit, showing the existing pole barn. Next slide, please. This is looking north away from the site. Next slide, please. This is looking east across South Millsap Drive. Next slide, please. And this is looking south, down Millsap Drive. And this is the aerial. And with that, I will stand for questions.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Aldrich.
Mr. Aldrich.
Thank you. I apologize for interrupting you earlier.
No, it's okay.
Do you know whether this property, the apartments, could it be used for a relative or just be for general real estate apartment?
It is up to the property owner. It can be used for a relative. They can choose to allow other people to stay there, but the primary property owner will be required to maintain ownership of the accessory apartment.
Okay.
Please, ma'am. We'll have opportunity for public comment after commissioners are finished with staff presentation. Any other questions for staff? Thank you, Raquel.
You're welcome.
We'll now ask the applicant agent to come forward to the podium. You'll have up to 10 minutes to present your case. Give us your name and your address for the record.
Hi, I'm Rory Porter. I live at 82001 South Millsap Drive, the location of where this is going to be put. I have an existing pole barn, and my property is a 3-bedroom house, but I'm getting older, and I have a lot of family that comes to visit me, and I don't have enough place for everybody to stay. So I'm building this, a request to build this little apartment. It's already inside of an existing pole barn, so there won't be any other structures put up. It'll just be put into it. And really, that's about all I have to say about it. I mean, the plumbing, the sewage and stuff was already spotted in when I built the pole barn, and that's already been inspected. And as far as that goes, I really don't have much else to say about it unless somebody has some questions.
So this is an addition to the existing pole barn, correct?
Yes, it's inside of the existing pole barn.
Okay.
It's a 1,800 square foot pole barn, and I'm taking the back 600 square foot, and I would like to turn that into a living quarters.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions from the commission? Commissioner Aldrich.
I guess my question would be the same one. Is this going to be used primarily for the purpose of family overflow, if you will?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Stand by. We may have a chance for you to rebut if there are any other public comments.
Right.
Is there anyone else from now we'll turn it to the public. If anyone from the public would like to comment on this case, this is your opportunity. Anyone? Ma'am, you need to go. Ma'am, right here. You need to go to the podium and give us your name and address, and you'll have up to 3 minutes.
I only want 1 minute. Suzanne Appleby, 8300 South Millsap Drive. And then I just want to know if this is going to be a rental property or it's just family use. And he said it's just family use. So it kind of answered my question.
Okay. Thank you. Any other public comments? Going once? Going twice? We'll bring it back to the commission.
Move for approval.
Oh, sorry, hold on. Mr. Porter, you have an opportunity to rebut if there's anything you needed to add. I think you already answered the question.
No, I don't think so.
All right, thank you, sir. So now we move it back to the commission for discussion and action.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion to approve, and it's properly seconded by Commissioner High. The motion was made by Mr. McKay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously.
Just a quick question, sir. Just want to clarify that action was to approve subject to the conditions in the staff report, right?
Correct.
Yes, that's the way I understood it. All right, next item is 4.4. This is a case that was deferred from June, and staff is recommending denial, so that's why we're hearing it. It is Zone 2025-25. And Chris, yes, Mr. Wadle.
Sorry, sir. Someone caught that the applicant does not appear to be in attendance. We have called the applicant for this one, and they are not here for this case, and they are requesting a deferral to the next MAPC meeting date.
Okay. So we will,
Move to defer.
we have a motion, and I'll second, or we have a second. We have a motion by Commissioner Warren and a second by Commissioner Miles to defer to the July 24th. Is that what we decided? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion passes. So that speeds things up. We'll now go to item 4.6. Zone 2025-28, conditional use 2025-80. And
Thank you.
we get to stay with Christina. I like how that works out.
Yes. The applicant for this case has two requests. The first one is a zone change from single-family SF5 to two-family TF3. And the second is a conditional use to allow multifamily density within the proposed TF3 zoning. The property is 2/3 of an acre in size, located on the northeast corner of West 11th Street North and North Gow Avenue. So this is 1202 North Gow. The site is currently vacant following the demolition of a single-family dwelling on site. This was probably a few months ago. And the applicant is requesting the conditional use to allow 2 duplexes on site or 4 dwelling units. In TF3 zoning, there is the option to apply for a conditional use for multifamily density, provided it does not exceed 14.5 dwelling units per acre. The applicant is requesting 4 dwelling units on 2/3 of an acre, which is less than the maximum allowed in TF3 zoning. According to the site plan submitted by the applicant, they intend to build 1 duplex facing North Gow and 1 facing West 11th Street North. Each duplex will have one one-car garage. So that's 1 garage per dwelling unit. And per the parking requirements, that satisfies the parking requirements of 1 parking space per duplex or per dwelling unit within a duplex. And they should also adhere to all the required setbacks in TF3 zoning. So that's a 15-foot street side setback, 25-foot front setback, and 6-foot interior side setback. With the request for multifamily development, the site will need to comply with the landscaping standards of the Wichita Landscape Code. They will need to provide a landscape street yard along both North Gow and West 11th Street North. And then if a parking lot is constructed, there will be additional landscaping there. A landscape buffer is required along all property lines due to abutting residential zoning. As of April 2025, the city of Wichita is still in a stage 2 drought, and applicants are not required to install said landscaping until the drought restrictions have been lifted. A 6 to 8 foot screening fence will also need to be erected and maintained along all property lines in order to be in compliance with the screening standards set forth in Section 4 of the Unified Zoning Code. The character of the neighborhood is low-density residential. All properties to the north, south, east, and west are zoned single-family SF5 and developed single-family dwellings. There is TF3 zoning with multiple duplexes, 1 block east of the subject site, and that's on the northeast corner of West 10th Street North and North Sheridan Avenue. As you can see on the zoning map here, there is, if you can see my mouse, where there is yellow, that is developed with duplexes. There are no zoning cases associated with this property. The property has access to North Gow Avenue, which is a paved 2-lane local street with no sidewalks on either side, as well as West 11th Street North, which is an unpaved 2-lane local street with no sidewalks. The requested zone change and conditional use are in conformance with the Community Investments Plan. The Wichita Future Growth Concept Map identifies the site as appropriate for residential uses, and the range of housing densities includes, but is not limited to, single-family detached homes, patio homes, duplexes, apartments, and multifamily units. So duplexes are an appropriate housing type for this area. The locational guidelines of the comprehensive plan provide a decision-making framework regarding land use changes. In the established central area, one of the guidelines aims to encourage infill development that maximizes public investment in existing and planned infrastructure and services. The applicant is proposing 2 duplexes, which creates infill development on a vacant lot without the extension of public services. The requested zone change and conditional use are also in conformance with the Wichita Places for People Plan. The plan outlines a list of strategies as guidelines. Strategy 5 is to provide a diversity of housing options to attract new residents and allow existing residents to remain in the established central area, while Strategy 6 encourages infill and redevelopment that is contextual to the environment in which it is occurring. The proposed duplexes will add to a diverse housing stock within 1 block of the subject property, which also includes single-family houses and duplexes. Based upon the information available at the time the staff report was completed, staff is recommending approval for both the zone change and the conditional use requests. The conditions for the conditional use requests are listed in your staff report at the bottom of page 3. And these recommendations, or this staff recommendation, is based on the golden rules, which is also listed in your staff report. Since the staff report has been prepared, I did receive additional comment from the neighbors, and that was submitted to you on Tuesday morning. And I had a gentleman walk in and also express his opposition to the requested zone change and conditional use. So let's go to the photos, please. This is looking east towards the site. This is on North Gal. Next slide, please. This is looking north towards the site from West 11th Street North. Next slide, please. This is looking south away from the site towards some of the single-family dwellings. Next slide, please. And this is looking west away from the site towards some of the single-family dwellings. And with that, I will stand for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Any questions from the commission? Seeing none, we'll ask the applicant agent to come forward. Talk about your case. Give us your name, address for the record. You'll have up to 10 minutes.
My name is Caleb Elder, 1325 South Market. We purchased this lot back in the fall. The house that was on it was decaying away, had more rodents living in it than anything else, and tried to decide if it was something that could be rehabbed, and it wasn't. So we ended up demoing it, taking it down. And looked at multiple options. Would it be best to do single families versus putting duplexes? We wanted to make sure we stayed with the character of the neighborhood because it is a very craftsman neighborhood. There's not a lot of cookie cutter houses in there, and we didn't want to come in and put cookie cutters in there and make it not really part of the neighborhood. Unfortunately, the way the lot would have had to been split, it wasn't going to be doable to do single families. It wasn't going to create enough space to have a house that really felt like fit the neighborhood. So we looked into duplexes, what could be a duplex that would really fit well still within the neighborhood, and decided that was going to be the best route to go. I do have, and I don't know if you guys would want it, I have a little bit more of a drawing of what the floor plan would be for the duplexes that we're looking at going with. It does not have any exterior photos, it's just the floor plan itself. But otherwise, she pretty well covered almost everything that I would have to say.
Does anyone from the commission have questions for Mr. Elder?
There will be a 2-3, if just to clarify that. Each unit will be a 2-3 with a 1-car garage.
2 bath, 3 bedroom? Or
3 bedroom, 2 bath.
Gotcha.
Or, sorry, yeah, that's what I meant. Thank you.
Commissioner Aldrich.
You mentioned that you're looking at building and staying within the character of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And you're saying this is going to be a 2-story?
No.
Or it's not going to be 2-story?
There'll be 1 story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, most of the homes in that area are 1 story.
We do have some photos that was supplied, I think, by one of the neighbors. My concerns is that we have some housing that are being developed around here that looks like ski slopes or whatever. They're just ugly.
You mean like the lean-to style?
Yeah.
No, they won't be that style, no.
That's good. Thank you.
To clarify, Mr. Elder, are there any HOA or development standards for the residences in that neighborhood, to your knowledge?
Not that I know of.
Any
no
neighborhood
HOAs for
association?
sure.
Okay. And no established development standards that would require a certain look. But your intent is to try to make it appear.
That was our intent from the beginning, is we wanted to keep the character of the neighborhood. I'm not a fan of super cookie cutters, so I like to make things look and just keep with the character of the neighborhood.
Thank you. Any other questions from the commission? Commissioner Warren?
Yeah, I'm looking at the plan. There is an exit out the back. What do you have left for yard space?
I'm sorry?
What do you have left for yard space? How do you plan on coming up with some backyard area?
The one that will be facing 11th will more than likely end up having a little bit more backyard space than the one facing Gow. But I don't know the exact size at this point. The guy that will be doing this with us, it's kind of the contractor of it all. I don't think he's got all those dimensions to me at this moment.
Any other questions for Mr. Elder? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Stand by. You may have to answer some rebuttal questions. Is there anyone from the public who would like to address the commission on this case? Please go to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. You'll have up to 3 minutes. And can we bring up the aerial of the neighborhood? Well, I guess that's probably the best we have, right? Sir, go ahead and give us your name and address.
Roger Peterson, 1215 North Gow. I just live right across the street.
Okay.
Be east of me, the property they're trying to build
We
on.
probably should go back to the other image.
Well, I guess first of all, I just want to know why they didn't have a zoning change on it before it was demolition came in.
That's not required. You can tear it down.
Do you have any permits for asbestos and lead?
That's not our department. That would be MABCD that would go through that.
Well, second of all, I think a house is just fine right there. That lot's too small for two duplexes. Too much traffic. There'll be 6 more cars plus. It's just one house needs to be there.
Okay.
That lot ain't big enough for duplexes.
Anything else, sir?
No, I guess not.
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none. Next speaker? Yes, ma'am, please.
My name is Sarah Platts. I live at 1144 North Gow, which is 2 doors down from this development. I was the one that submitted the written comments that you have. The question I had was, we would rather prefer owner properties instead of rental properties. And also the concern is the amount of off-street parking. We would like, because every duplex you have to consider 2 cars, which means you're looking at least 8 vehicles. And there's really not enough off-street parking to handle that kind of overflow, especially if they have work trucks or something like that. So my preference is, I don't mind 2 duplexes. I don't know what this floor plan size, how many square feet it would be. And if if the 2 duplexes are gonna overwhelm the lot. But for us, or for me, it's the amount of traffic and where are they gonna put these vehicles at? And I think that's it.
Any questions for the speaker? Thank you. Next speaker?
Hi, my name's Debbie Warnock. I live at 3359 West 11th. I'm nervous. We are one of the 2 houses that are on 11th Street, and so we're looking across at the new proposed duplex. We're on a dirt road. I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but on 13th Street, just straight north of us, it floods during the big rains that we've had, and so all those folks, they come down Gow and then go across our street. And I don't know how that's going to work if you're going to have cars parked on our dirt road on top of the stuff that happens there. I am concerned about ownership versus rental because as far as I know, we don't have anybody in our immediate neighborhood that's a rental. I've lived there 33 years and the house across the street was awful. It definitely needed to be taken down. Also, I can't tell from this, I thought it was a ½ acre and not 2/3 of an acre just because everything in that neighborhood is a ½ acre. Where I am is not a half acre, but that's because the house right next to me, the two of us together make a half acre. So, you know, 2 houses would fit there just fine. But on the back of this property across the street, it's not been cleared yet. And so I didn't know whether or not they were gonna sell that part separately, or if they're actually gonna go ahead and clear that off and include that in this duplex setup. Can you think of anything else? Oh, and we don't want the road paved. We've been happy with it. They have taken care of it for a million years for us, and it's been great, except when we have the flood thing. Are we gonna be forced to have to pave the street and pay for the paving of the street? And is this gonna make our taxes go up by having this across the street from us? That's a lot of questions. I'm sorry, I didn't know I was gonna ask this much, but we need to know these things. You know, we're gonna be there. We can't afford to move. This is where we're gonna spend the rest of our life, and I need to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker. Next speaker. Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the applicant agent to address the rebuttal. Mr. Elder, you'll have up to 2 minutes to answer any questions that were raised or any concerns that need to be addressed.
The only one I think I can address is I mean, I can't control where people always park, but there will be a driveway and a garage. So people will be able to pull into their driveways and into their garage. I don't know about the taxes or the paved. I don't control any of that. If I did, I would not be paying taxes. But and again, the option to do for the single family, I mean, she's looking at it where it's split down the middle, and if it could be done that way, that wasn't an option for us. And so it didn't create the ability to give us appropriate space for a house. It would have had to build long and deep. Can I walk up? Okay.
Could you use the pointer on the mouse?
Oh, yes.
Because you're on YouTube.
So, sorry. So they would have wanted us to split it this way. And it would have made for a very deep house without having much yard, creating much yard space. So we weren't able to split it this way, which was what we were hoping. And that would have done 2 single families, but we couldn't do it that way. And so this is going to give it where you can create a living property with yard space that we weren't going to be able to do the other way. So that's all I have.
We have a question from Commissioner. Ma'am, public comment is closed. We have a question from Commissioner Mader.
Just helping me make sense of this drawing. Is those single-car garages or 2-car garages?
They're going to be a single-car garage. Yes. So it'd be like where they could pull 1 car technically into a garage and then 1 car into their driveway if they have 2 cars.
Okay, I think I had a question raised. Did you have, Commissioner High?
Do you know if the dirt road is going to be paved or you're going to require it to be paved?
They have not said we'd be required to pave it. We do have to put the drives in and have like the, engineers approach that. I know she said something about not clearing the whole lot. I don't know. We've cleared. I mean, if you look at this picture, there was a car in the lot that we didn't even know was there. There was so much overgrowth. We found kennels and things in this lot. We've cleared almost, the only thing we haven't cleared is a few trees facing 11th right now, because at the time we weren't sure if we were going to be able to leave them if we did a single family in case somebody wanted that. But otherwise we've cleared almost the whole lot to try and get rid of all the overgrowth to make it cleared out, just cleared completely out.
Commissioner Zimbelman.
I might have missed this. Are you building these for rental or are you going to try to sell them?
We're still debating that currently, whether we will end up selling them. I think we're aiming more to sell them to let somebody buy to purchase as their own unit. or by the, excuse me, by each unit, or duplex, or if we're going to just keep them as a rental. I know that everybody involved with this, or all of us, have personally been in the rental business for quite a few years. And we don't, I mean, I'm sure everybody says this, but we have very high standards of what we want. So, but we don't know yet. That's my best answer. We're still discussing whether we want to go with I think we're aiming more towards selling them once they're built, but I don't have a solid yes or no answer.
Any other questions from the commission? Seeing none, thank you, sir.
All right.
We'll bring it back to the commission for discussion. I would like to just ask staff real quickly. The question was come up about yard and setbacks. Is this plan fit within the proper allowance for the site?
Yes, that is my understanding.
And same with the parking. Are they fitting the parking code as it relates to taking care of their issue with what they're required to have for their property?
The parking minimum is 1 parking space per dwelling unit within a duplex, so.
That's required, that's the code.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner McKay.
Kind of a follow-up on what you just said. What's the minimum square footage of a duplex?
For building a duplex or the lot area?
This lot area.
The minimum lot area is 3,000 square feet per dwelling unit within a duplex, so essentially 6,000 square feet.
Okay. Thank you, Christina. Any other questions for staff? Seeing none, need to take action. Commissioner Warren.
I move to approve her staff report.
Second.
We have a motion to approve with the second by Commissioner Aldrich. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. And Ms. Warnock, as it relates to paving, the city has a new dirt road paving policy. And their first priority was those dirt roads within a certain range of schools. And they also allow the neighborhood that has the dirt paving petition to protest it if they don't want it. I don't know if your road is slated for paving, but you can check with the City of Wichita Public Works. You can also, you can do 2 things. You can petition to have your road paved. If more than 50% of the neighboring properties agree, then that can happen. And if 50% don't, then it stays unpaved. So I hope that helps. And we have nothing to do with taxes. I wish we did. All right, next case. You know what I meant.
This is case number CUP 2025-00020 with zone 2025-00029. The applicant for these cases has 2 requests. The first is a zone change from single-family residential SF5 to limited commercial LC, and in turn to establish the Cabaz Commercial Community Unit Plan, CUP Development Plan number 364. The subject site is 18 acres in size and is generally located on the east side of South Rock Road and the north side of East 39th Street South. Because the request for limited commercial is greater than 6 acres, Section 3C2B of the Unified Zoning Code requires this property, if approved, to become a community unit plan. And then if approved, the CUP would be made up of 1 parcel, Parcel 1, as well as 1 reserve, Reserve A. Parcel 1 would be 13.6 acres in size. I'm sorry, Parcel 1 would be 13.6 acres in size, and Reserve A would be 4.48 acres in size, and that would be located on the north portion of the subject site. Parcel 1 within the community unit plan permits uses within the limited commercial district, except those listed in your staff report, namely SOBs, correctional placement residences, nightclubs, safety services, agricultural sales, cell phone towers, and tavern and drinking establishments. However, they do request that restaurants be allowed to serve liquor as long as food is a primary service of the establishment. The applicant also requests to prohibit theaters, which are under the category of auditorium or stadium. The CUP drawing also allows for multifamily development at a maximum density of 29 dwelling units per acre. This is less than what is permitted in the LC zoning, which is 75 dwelling units per acre. The applicant also requests a waiver of all supplementary use regulations outlined in Section 3D6Y of the Unified Zoning Code. This pertains to warehouse, self-service storage, and the general office and limited commercial zoning districts. These regulations, they are provided on page, look here. They start on page 7 of your staff report. I've listed them out and then provided a staff analysis as to whether staff feels that we should keep or whether we support them waiving the request for the waiver of those supplemental use regulations. And for many of the regulations, we feel that we are in support of the request because the CUP and the governing text within that document already covers landscaping and maximum height, et cetera, et cetera. Building setbacks are established on the face of the CUP drawing. Parcel 1 has a 35-foot building setback along the south, east, and west property lines. And then the east property line has a 5-foot wall easement where abutting residential zoning. There's no setback requirement between parcel 1 and the dedicated reserve immediately to the north. However, the property is located within the city limits of Wichita, but it is located along 2 county arterial streets, which require a 100-foot setback along county arterial streets. Once the subject site is platted, the county may request dedication of additional rights-of-way, and the 35-foot setback shall remain. The applicant requests a maximum height of 45 feet. The subject site is within the Air Force Base Protective Overlay, or AFBPO, which limits the height of all structures, and that's buildings and signs, to 25 feet. So staff recommends that the 25-foot height standard of the AFBPO be enforced, and I believe there are some folks from McConnell Air Force Base who are able to speak on that. They did provide additional comment to us that was submitted to you guys on Monday and Tuesday morning. They remain in support of that 25-foot maximum height for all structures. The CUP would permit a maximum of 3 signs, which cannot exceed 840 square feet altogether. The applicant is actually requesting provisions that are more restrictive than the sign code. For screening and landscaping, a 6-foot solid screening wall shall be installed on the east side of the property where abutting residential zoning. And then I mentioned earlier there's a 5-foot wall easement for that. The CUP also requires adherence to the standards of the Wichita Landscape Code. So that requires landscape street yards and parking lot screening and parking lot trees for development along the arterial frontages. The applicant is requesting 24-foot tall light poles within 200 feet of residential zoning. Light poles are normally restricted to 15 feet in height, except that they are permitted to be taller, provided that a photometric plan is approved by the planning department. The character of the neighborhood is currently low residential and undeveloped. To the north, it is zoned 2-family residential district, is also owned by the applicant and is undeveloped. To the south, we see LC and SF20 single-family residential in unincorporated Sedgwick County, and those are currently undeveloped. This just pertains to the small box here. I do recognize that there are residences here just east of the property. To the east, it is zoned SF5, also owned by the applicant as undeveloped, but they are requesting a zone change concurrently to TF3 for today's Metropolitan Area Planning Commission meeting. And then property to the west across South Rock Road is developed with the Air Force Base. This property was annexed into the city of Wichita earlier this year, and that converted the existing single-family residential zoning of SF20 to SF5. The site is also unplatted. The proposed zone change and establishment of the CUP are in conformance with the Community Investments Plan. The plan identifies the site as appropriate for new employment and residential and employment mixed uses. The proposed zone change and establishment of the CUP are in conformance with the locational guidelines of the Community Investments Plan. It states that major commercial and employment centers should be located at the intersection of arterial streets and along highways and commercial corridors. The land compatibility use guidelines state that industrial and major commercial uses that generate pollution, odor, noise, light, safety hazards, and high levels of traffic should be located away from residential areas and developed from screening, buffering, and site design features sufficient to mitigate adverse impacts. So the CUP does have its own provisions for screening, landscaping, setback, and lighting, which are designed to mitigate some of those potential adverse impacts. Staff is recommending approval of both the zone change and CUP applications, subject to the conditions in your staff report. These recommendations are based on the golden rules, which are also listed in your staff report. I did receive some additional comment. Those were submitted to you guys on Tuesday morning via email. And with that, let's go to some of the site photos. This is looking east towards the site. It was difficult to pull over and take photos, so we just did it in someone's driveway. Next slide, please. This is looking north away from the site. This is up on South Rock Road. Next slide, please. This is looking south away from the site, or southeast, I should say. Next slide, please. This is looking west away from the site. And with that, I will stand for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. My question is on supplementary use regulation number 5. It says that the architectural design shall be submitted to the planning director for review and a recommendation to the planning commission. So will that come back to this body for approval? The architectural standards, the design, that's the way I read this. And that it will have to be approved by the planning commission. So we will see this case as it relates to how it looks. Is that way it's intended to be written? Or is it supposed to just be planning director? Because that's not something we normally do.
Christina, I'll defer to you on whether this is the usual text, but I'm not familiar with bringing designs back to the planning commission.
I have not seen this happen before with other self-storage units that we've approved in the past, so.
So just as it relates to the self-storage unit, maybe that should be clarified then.
Yeah, I think in the past, what we've done is that it's been something reviewed and approved by the planning director or planning department, but I can look up the supplementary use.
I know we had a case just recently for design look up northwest, but I just want to make sure that's what the intent here is.
It will take just a few minutes to look this up, but I'll do that.
See if there's any other questions while we're, Commissioner Aldrich.
Yep, Christina, on page 3, Christina, on page 3 on lighting, where it shows the applicant has proposed a 24-foot tall light pole. And the light pole is restricted to 15 foot, but the next sentence it says, except they are permitted to be taller provided the photometric plan is approved by the planning department. Shouldn't there also be a comma that says not to exceed 25 foot? I just want to make sure that we're protecting that 25-foot height.
So in the underlying zoning code, and I apologize for this mistake here, in the underlying zoning code, they are limited to 15 feet in height.
Okay, but it also says that there could be an adjustment right after that. So the maximum on that lighting pole is 15 foot, that's it, period, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then on page 10, number 3, It's paragraph that's following, where it's highlighted in red, we're following. It's the supplemental use regulations, Article 3, Section 3, D, 6Y, and then referring to 5, 8, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, and 19. And if you look at 15, it's been deleted out. So if you're deleting 15 out, why would you even reference that? And then my follow-up question on that, is this part of the fly zone over there too? Would ponds be allowed? Would that interfere in any way, shape, or form, causing any more birds to come in and possess a risk as far as bird strikes?
I understand. In reference to number 15, those are the ones that we recommend keeping. So they shall be subject to the following supplemental use regulations, so 5, 8, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, and 19. So we did recommend keeping that provision, and then shall be subject to the following supplementary use regulations.
Okay, then why is it redlined out if you wanted to keep it?
So it's as opposed to shall not. So.
Okay. I'm still a little confused because if you look over on 15 on page 11, everything is lined out, crossed out.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So I can make that correction.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just a quick clarification, Christina. So is the red strikeouts or, oh, I see. Okay. Number one, the first attachment is the supplementary use regulations, which are in the zoning code, which are automatically attached to any case of a certain type. And in this case, warehouse self-storage, these are the supplementary use regulations. So the text in red is the applicant has requested waiving a bunch of those. So the text in red is what the planning department staff are recommending to you to keep as a requirement with this case. But if you go further, Mr. Aldrich, Commissioner Aldrich, as you pointed out on page 10, this is when we get into the CUP text that's been drafted for this. This is the custom kind of overlay zoning that goes with it. In this case, red is what staff's recommending to change from what the applicant submitted. And so the crossed out text is where staff's recommending that text be removed that the applicant had suggested. Christina, did I get that correct?
I believe so.
Okay, so red text in both, but they mean different things depending on where you're looking. I do have an answer for the waterfowl though, and water bodies. So the property is not platted, and during the platting process, there'll be a drainage plan that will be done. During that process, if there's an issue with the flight path and concerns about migratory waterfowl, the drainage can be addressed then in the creation of the ponds and how deep they are, and how shallow, et cetera, at that point.
Okay.
Anyone else? Thank you, Christina. We'll now ask the applicant agent to come forward. Give us your name and address, and you'll have up to 10 minutes. Thank you.
My name's Jay Cook, Boffman Company, agent on behalf of the applicant, 315 South Ellis. To answer the first question, provision 5 does state that it has to come to planning commission. That's why we wanted it out of there, because I've never seen it. Of course, I've not seen a lot of these provisions actually been enforced. So all the others we're okay with keeping. Christina did a good job of going through each of those. I think I was asking for a lot, and she did a good job of going and saying which ones need to stay. Basically, we want the zoning of this. There's already a block of LC. We just want to extend that up a little bit to provide some commercial along a major arterial street. I don't really have too much to add to it. We do agree with staff's recommendations and what staff has included and taken out. We understand the Air Force Base's overlay. For the life of me, I can't seem to find that map, but I trust that that 25 feet is what it is on the east side. And we will limit any building to being 25 feet or less. And I don't really have anything else. Do you have any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Cook?
And to clarify, Mr. Aldridge, the number 15 that's marked out was one of our general provisions, and we're okay with that. It wasn't the supplementary use regulations.
Thank you. Stand by for rebuttal opportunity. Are any members from the public who would like to address the commission on this? Yes, ma'am. Please go to the podium, give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 3 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name's Kennedy Dunn. I'm the community planner for McConnell Air Force Base. I've been there for about a year now. Good afternoon, Chairman. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Good afternoon, Planning Department, and hello, public. Just a quick background, this is my first time speaking in front of the commissioners about myself. I've been in McConnell for about a year now. Prior to this, I was a county planner as well in Georgia, and I hold a master's in city and regional planning, and I served in the South Carolina Air National Guard for 6 years, just to kind of give you a little background on me. To get into this property specifically, McConnell just has a couple concerns we want to discuss. The 25-foot is amazing. We're really happy about you guys maintaining that, so thank you. The biggest one is located across the street. Right here is an RV storage parking lot that we keep on base, and they, as you can see in the previous photo, there are these giant light poles that shine pretty much 24/7 at night to maintain the personnel safety as well as the property that's there. The main concern with this is previously a property owner in this area filed a complaint about the lights saying it disturbed their bees, which happens. And so we're just concerned about anything coming onto this property being faced with similar situation. So we were asking that they incorporated building orientation to maybe tilt a little, so if it's a residential, the lights are not completely shining into the room. Any architectural design that could happen to help mitigate that, and landscaping, just screening, things of that nature. Just a big concern. We just don't want to end up hindering somebody's sleep, but they need to understand those lights will be staying on. And there's maybe a disclosure of that going out to the residents or the, the people who are leasing the commercial property, if that's how the developer chooses to go. And in addition to that, it is under a direct flight path, so there will be noise there from aircraft occasionally. Though it is not in our giant noise contours, it will happen. You'll hear noise. You are right next to an Air Force base, noise happens. Additionally, we have an EOD range located to the southwest of this area, which for that, there are some possibilities of slight noise reaching this area as well. Not extremely loud, but it will happen and occur. The EOD range is several hundred times a year it is utilized, though there is notice that this goes out of the noise, so just that can be implemented or shared if need be. And then the last concern we had was about what part of the property would be utilized as the entrance for this commercial property. Would it come off of South Rock Road or off of 39th? Concerned with coming off of Rock, it comes to traffic. There's several developments happening on this area in Rock Road, and as that continues to happen, traffic is becoming more and more of a problem. And with the main gate being located up a little bit up here, it could cause some serious issues for mission readiness of being able to get the airmen onto the base as needed. So we're just going to ask if there's some kind of a turning lane that could be installed, or if it could come the main entrance off of 39th or something of that nature, just to kind of go along with that.
All right. Thank you for your comments, and also thank you for your service in the Guard.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker, Commissioner Aldrich?
Yes, again, I'd like to, follow up. Thank you for your service. I just want to I'm very protective of the base out there, and I want to make sure that anything that we do falls in line is with basically the wishes within reason of all of our military bases, but this one in particular. Is there anything else on the staff report that you've seen that Can you live with everything? Are you good with it? Anything that really concerns you on this besides what you've already mentioned?
No, we were really happy that they chose to take off the asphalt plant there, just because any kind of dust could cause some issues also for the aircraft. So any kind of use that mitigates that would be great. So not having the asphalt plant was a good one. Then again, with the residential, we're just concerned. We don't want people to have a difficulty with their own living. Outside of that, there was not any that we found to be any hindrance to the base at this time. Just anything aside from creating extra lights. Again, that's right across the street from a bright lights. We're not really worried as much for that for like night training. We're not concerned about the residents being there. Just comes down to the traffic and understanding of the noise being there and any asphalt, trying to maintain like dust, things of that nature. And traffic, huge.
Okay. Well, the traffic will be handled through traffic engineering, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. And again, thank you for taking the time to come in here. And again, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you. Next speaker. Again, please give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 3 minutes.
My name is Brenda Bishop. I live at 3900 South Linden Street in the area where the B guy lives, but I'm not the B guy. My concern is 39th Street. We get a lot of traffic on that now, people cutting from Webb Road to go to 39th Street. She recommended that they, on this business, in this portion, they come out on 39th Street and not on Rock Road. Right now, on Rock Road, we do have a turning bay to go into 39th. Thank you for that, because it's such a big help. But 39th Street, I don't know if you've been out there, but there's no gutters, there's no shoulder, there's no anything. So it's not really safe. So now, and of course, we've got another case coming up, but now we've got additional traffic on 39th. So I guess my question is, what are the plans for 39th Street? Because it's gonna, with the residential that we're gonna talk about in a little bit, it's gonna be a problem, people dumping on 39th. So really, that was the only thing I had on the business. But I do have one other question. If I understand, because you guys are giving a lot of information, this isn't my forte, I'm not educated in this. Is there just gonna be a storage facility there or other things? So that's all I have.
We'll let the applicant answer that question. Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, you're good. Thank you, Ms. Bishop. Next speaker? Yes, please come to the podium. Give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 3 minutes.
My name's Dave Dixon. I live at 4015 Heather, which is, I think it's just this property right here. Been there 35 years. And I just want to echo the same concerns that this lady had about traffic on 39th. When I moved in out there, this was just a dirt road, and when they blacktopped it, they just blacktopped over it and left rough ditches and everything. So if we increase traffic in that area on the 39th, and the next project you're getting ready to talk about is going to compound that several times more, we're going to have a real 39th traffic area problem. And so I guess our preference would be not to put the traffic out on 39th, is to put it out on Rock Road and maybe somehow go put a turn lane in or something to it. And then again, I have the same concern as she has. What's going in there? Is it going to be just storage for the whole area? Are we going to have a strip center with some, just whatever? Is it going to be a rental strip center? What's going in there? This would be nice to know. Or will we have the opportunity to come back and review that when that gets more defined? I understand this area's not even been platted yet, as well as the next one we're getting ready to talk about. And I got some questions about that one as well. So I guess just kind of in general, I echo her same sentiments on everything. The traffic is a big deal. Because we have a traffic problem right now with the other areas that's went in here. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Next speaker. Name, address, and you'll have 3 minutes.
My name is Jan Kanabi. I live at 3803 South Cypress, which is right here. And I have just some context for you. The driveway that you pulled into to take those pictures is a residential home that has been there for less than 2 years. The bee keeper, that is his business, so he is actually trying to maintain income from that. So just some context for it. My concern is what kind of business will be going in here, which has already been asked, and will there be restrictions for in the future of what kind of business would be going in here? My concern for this family right here is how will that affect the single-family home, as well as the context of us having traffic coming into 39th Street. We do not have an A-cell-D-cell lane here when we are heading northbound on Rock to turn onto 39th Street. There is a cross right here at this corner from a death that has happened, and that cross has been there probably within the last 5 years. It hasn't been that long. So we know that there are some issues of safety in that one. The other issues is we are a residential area. We walk up and down this street a great deal. So without any kind of shoulders or anything to walk or to get away from traffic, we have to constantly watch where we are walking and making sure that traffic does see us. So again, it's a safety issue. So my questions are, what kind of business? Will that be something that will be maintained through until there is maybe a future question about changing it? And will there be A-cell, D-cell lanes? Maybe get off of Rock Road into that? Or can we get the traffic off of 39th Street? Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none. Next speaker? Next speaker? Okay, we'll return it to the applicant for rebuttal opportunity. You'll have up to 2 minutes, sir.
Thank you. Starting off with concerns from the Air Force Base, I appreciate the heads up on what's around there. I know that when we do our photometric plan, we won't have any light pollution going off of this particular piece of property. As far as entrances go, once that's platted, that's when the city engineers will get in and decide what needs to be done as far as entrances and where they'll be. And that goes for that piece of property and the property to the east. What's going in is kind of unsure. There's not really any commercial around this area, even though it is zoned commercial, at least in the corner. The CUP we're providing just kind of offers different modes of business that could possibly go in there. It could be storage, it could also be a strip center for retail sales. You kind of try to open up as much avenues to be marketable as possible when you're developing a site like this that doesn't really have a lot of commercial around it. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Commissioner Zimbelman.
Hey, Jay, in all your research on this project, have you come across anything that says what they might do with 39th Street in the future?
No, and it's a very good question. I know that the speaker talked about they had blacktopped it recently, and I don't know. There's an issue with when you annex a piece of property into the city that's abutting a county as to who wants to take control of the street. So if areas to the south were to be annexed into the city by choice of the residents, that would become a city maintained road for sure, but and require city standards on easements. We're trying to provide enough space between it, but I can't really answer what might happen with 39th because it's in limbo as far as future development.
Because
Chairman Fry, you might be able to help me on that, because I know there's a big issue when you annex in and you're abutting county as far as who takes control of the road.
County arterial road, but the property was just annexed in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's a split, shared half and half, but I don't know the CIP has not been published yet for 2025 and beyond unless Commissioner, or Staff Waddle has, I almost promoted you to Commissioner. And welcome, Begonia.
Sir, so I did a quick review of both CIPs, and I did not see any projects for 39th Street. But again, that's just a cursory review while I was sitting here.
That'd be something for Commissioner Howe, and I think that would be Councilmember
Tuttle.
Tuttle, yeah.
Yeah, it's in Tuttle's.
So, unknown at this point. But probably not anytime soon. Anything else, Mr. Cook?
That's it.
All right. Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you. We'll bring it back to the commission for action or discussion. Anybody want to take a stab? All right. I will move that we approve with the conditions as identified in the staff report.
Second.
Motion to approve with a second by Mr. McKay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Next item is 4.8, staying in the neighborhood.
All right, last case, guys. And it's in the same neighborhood. So my name is Raquel Ordonez with planning staff, here to present case ZON 2025-30. The applicant is requesting a zone change from SF5 to TF3, two-family residential, for 57-acre property generally located on the corner of East 39th Street and South Rock Road. So it's that rear part of the parcel we were just talking about behind the limited commercial. The applicant has indicated that they intend to use the site for a single-family and two-family residential development. Should the zone change be approved, there would be no change in the setbacks, parking requirements, or maximum height. SF5 requires a 5,000 square foot minimum lot size, while TF3 zone requires 3,000 square foot minimum lot size per dwelling unit. So that's 6,000 square feet for one duplex. The character of the area is low density residential. Property to the west is zoned SF5. And the applicant is requesting that that be changed to limited commercial. So that's the case we just talked about. Property to the south, property across South Rock Road to the west is McConnell Air Force Base. Property to the north is zoned TF3 and is currently undeveloped. Properties to the east and the south are zoned SF20 and are developed with single-family dwellings. The subject site is not platted, and it was annexed into the city limits of Wichita on May 27th of 2025, and that is when the zoning changed from SF20 to SF5. For the public services, the subject site has access to East 39th Street, a paved two-lane arterial road. City water and sewer do not currently serve the site. The nearest city and water sewer utilities are located approximately 1/4 mile to the north, serving the Rocky Ford addition. The intended type of development requires municipal services, and building permits will not be granted until the site is adequately served, and the site is not served by Wichita Transit. We have found that staff finds that the requested zone change from SF5 to TF3 to be in conformance with the Community Investments Plan according to the 2035 Wichita Future Growth Area Concept Map. The area is indicated as suitable for new residential and employment mixed development. Due to the proximity of the subject site to higher intensity businesses or employment, then higher density residential types would be appropriate for this subject site, such as duplex development. Additionally, the locational guidelines in the Community Investments Plan provide a framework for decision-making regarding land use changes. One of these guidelines states that we should support the expansion of existing uses into adjacent areas. And property to the north of this is also zoned TF3. Based on the information available prior, at the time of writing the staff report, staff recommendation is to approve the zone change from SF5 to TF3. This recommendation is based on the golden rules listed in the staff report. And with that, I will also show you some additional site photos. Next slide, please. The site photos. This is looking north toward the site. Currently, that whole side is kind of taken up by trees. Next slide, please. This is looking east into the site. Next slide. And then this is looking north across the site. You can see South Rock Road. Next slide, please. And this is looking south across the site. Next slide, please. And this is looking south along 39th Street. And I think that's all of the pictures. Oh, and then across, looking west across to McConnell Air Force Base. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions for staff? Seeing none, thank you. We'll ask the applicant agent to come forward, name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 10 minutes.
Thank you. Again, Jay Cook, Boffman Company, 315 South Ellis. If you go back to the zoning slide, what we're doing, basically a continuation of Rocky Ford and Betson that you all have approved through annexation, through zoning and platting, to just bring this TF3 down for what's remaining in this part here. What we've done in Rocky Ford and in Betson is had a mixture of development as far as duplexes and single-family homes. We believe that a lot of Betson, this area here that was just approved or was approved platted this year, will actually be more single-family homes than duplexes, and you don't really know until you start the development in the market and see what's going on, what the best option is. But Rocky Ford, Betson, they're going to be a healthy mix of single family and duplexes, and we anticipate the same down here for Cabaz as well. Let's see. There weren't really any staff recommendations, were there? So with that, I'll stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions from the commission? Mr. Commissioner McKay.
How far east does the paving go?
On 39th?
From Rock Road on 39th?
I believe it, on 39th, it goes to Webb, I believe. I don't actually know the answer to that question. It goes all the way to Webb and then stops at Webb. So for a mile east of Rock.
That's what it looks like on. Yep. Any other questions for Mr. Cook? And thank you. Stand by. Is there anyone from the public who would like to comment on this case? Please come forward to the podium. Give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 3 minutes.
Garnett Dixon, 4015 Heather. My question is, and I think that guy there too lives right there on the corner where they're going to put in the storage units, and McConnell wishes that it would come off of 39th, the entrance to there. 39th is only a 2-lane road. How are you going to get some big truck or some big trailer down 39th and get it into that storage unit? There's not room on 39th.
So we're talking about the parcel to the east of that.
I know, and you're talking about the houses down that's right there by the storage units that will be affected by the people coming in to that storage unit.
If that's what they end up doing there, possibly.
Yeah, but yet they're not going to tell us till they've already started building what they're going to do. So how do you know how to vote?
It's a bit land use. We're voting on, is this the proper use of that land? We do not make a decision.
You don't care how you get in and out of it.
That's not our purview. That is more of a public works and traffic control. They have to address that when the site is platted and the entrances and exits and so forth.
Okay.
Any other public comment? Yes, ma'am. And again, I know you testified earlier, but it's the same name and address for the record.
Okay, my name is Brenda Bishop, and I live at 3900 Linden Street right here. So my house does not back up to this. I have a recommendation, not a question, on if you're going to put duplexes in there, maybe you could put them over here and put the single-family homes over here so we would be impacted less. That's just a recommendation. I know you're going to do what's the best for you and money-wise. I did have a neighbor bring up that 39th Street, they wanted to know if it was a cold composition asphalt because that is not designed for permanent roads, so somebody, I know you said you don't have anything to do with the roads, but still, I want it on the record that it was brought up. Because when they make determinations on the planning on this layout, how they're gonna do the roads and everything, do they look at your notes or not?
Probably not.
Okay, well, I'll put it out there anyway.
They'll look at the plat, obviously, but not our discussion.
Okay, and then on 39, or on Rocky Ford, where they're north of where we're at, they did a good job because they have twin homes, and then they have single resident, and they only have one lane out for each one exit. So it's really nice. It does control the traffic on Rock Road. Okay, so that's a little input there. And then if 39th, and you may not know the answer to this, you probably won't, but if improvements are made at 39th, who pays for those?
Taxpayers.
Who does? Yeah, I just got my specials paid off for Linden, so, okay, that's another one. And then sewer plans also. So would these be hooked up to Wichita Sewer? We're required to have our own septic, so what's gonna happen with these little lots? Because they're in the city limits now, what would happen there?
I'll let the applicant agent answer that question.
Okay, that's all I had.
Thank you. Any other public speakers? New speaker, you want to go first? You want to let, okay.
Hello again. Kennedy Dunn, community planner, McConnell. Don't really have an address. Just for clarification, McConnell's not 100% stating that it needs to come off or desiring it to come off the 39th. We are just asking for some kind of traffic just mitigation tactic to be installed somewhere. It doesn't have to be off of 39th. It's just, I understand that could be cumbersome to the residents in that area, so I just wanted to clarify that. And then the same thoughts and stipulations before, discussing a disclosure of the lights, flight path, noise. Just because you're over a little bit doesn't mean it goes away. So that's still a problem. I am not aware of this area because it was not provided in the information I was given about this zoning, if this is in the McConnell area of influence and fits that 25 feet requirement as well. Is that correct or not?
Staff is shaking their head, yes.
Yes, it appears to be.
Okay, then we just ask for that 25 feet to also be maintained in any kind of development for the height.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker.
My name is James Morgan. My address is 8725 East 39th Street South, directly across the street from where they're talking about building duplexes. Don't have a lot of education on this as well, but we bought our home. It's on a 5-acre lot. The whole point of buying the home was to go out there and with a bunch of neighbors that had 5 acres, and now 12 big steps from my mailbox, they're talking about building duplexes. So I'm completely against that. Residential homes would be bad enough, but duplexes would be worse. So I would ask that you deny the duplexes.
Any questions? Hold on, sir. We have a question from Commissioner Aldridge.
When you purchased that property, were you aware that over across the street from you that possibility was always there?
Well, obviously it's a possibility, yeah. I didn't think about it, but yeah, it's a possibility.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions for the speaker? Thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming down. Next speaker? Yes, sir. Please come to the podium. Name and address for the record. You'll have up to 3 minutes.
Again, my name's Dave Dixon, 4015 Heather. I guess I would echo this gentleman's sentiments. You know, the zone of this multifamily right there, and when you look at the road system there, it's just going to be a nightmare. The traffic is going to be a nightmare. And you're sitting here talking about approving this without any foresight or plan of what you're going to do with traffic or roads. I understand the area hadn't even been planted. I called down and asked, what are the entrances going to be there? Well, they don't know. They haven't got platted yet. Well, how can you go ahead and approve this stuff without any further planning, forward-looking planning? I mean, there's things here that you're going to create a nightmare here if you're not careful. And again, I'm just like him. I'm on the 5 acres directly across the street, and I'm right here on the corner, right here. And so my question is, what are they going to do with streets and roads? Are they going to do like they did down here and run Heather? This is Cypress. They ran Cypress right on through into this area, created another thing here. Are they going to run Heather right in here and create multiple things here and then just dump everything right out on 39th right there? So looking at this thing earlier, I thought, well, maybe they'll go ahead and put roads out. Like if you look up north at Rocky Ford up there, they put access out to Rock Road. Well, that would be okay with me. I wouldn't care that. But I know they're not going to do that because of what you just approved right here today on this commercial right here. You're going to sit there and commercial this all up and block access for any of this here to out to Rock Road. You're going to force it onto 39th Street. That's going to be a total nightmare. So again, I hope you folks really are thinking forward and maybe putting this on hold until you get some more direction on how you're going to access this stuff. You know, again, the guy's bought the property, he's going to develop it. You can't stop that. But throwing duplexes, multifamily housing, zoning in this whole area, you're just going to destroy the area by doing that. But a little bit of, they did everything in good taste up at Rocky Ford. I have no problems with what they did up there, But this is going to be a nightmare for traffic, and I hope you guys are thinking about that before you approve this.
Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Next speaker? Yes, ma'am.
Again, I'm Jan Kanabe, 3903 South Cypress. My question is, what would be, I know you won't know this till it's platted, but what would be the maximum number of homes that could be put into that area based on space and size?
That's something that the applicant will have to answer.
Okay, then that would be my question for the applicant, and I'm sure he'll say, well, we don't have it platted yet, but I'd still like to know what the options are there. And just a perspective, as we moved in up here, I did not even think about the fact that all the people down here would be impacted by these houses, and that's probably 24 houses. If this is going to be 40, 50, 60 homes, think of the impact of what it would have on this street right here and all of our houses that we've built and our lives and our families. So we do ask you to please consider not making these duplexes. Thank you.
Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you. Next speaker? Next speaker? Seeing no more public speakers, we'll bring it back to the applicant for rebuttal. Mr. Cook, you'll have up to 2 minutes.
Thank you. Just because we've done this before, you and I have gone through this dance quite a bit. The platting process does come after the zoning. All we're asking for is the use. And while there's a lot of developers now, and this particular, our client who's developed Rocky Ford and will be developing Betson, it's not uncommon to ask for TF3, even though you may build more single family than duplex. And that's probably the intent would be to determine what the market is in that area. I'm not going to say that we haven't platted it yet, so I don't know the amount of homes, but what I will say is we don't know the mixture of homes. There will be some single family homes, there will be duplexes, and it's kind of just depending on how the layout is going to be, how we can make sure we're optimizing the space, but not overburdening the area as well. As far as traffic goes and that sort of exits, we will do whatever the city and county engineers state that we need to do. I know entrances and exits are always, ingress, egress into these are tricky from the Rock Road side and the 39th side. But all of that goes through a very tenuous process, and our engineers go through a lot of headache to make sure we're getting everything done properly for the best optimal solutions to ingress and egress into a neighborhood. Other than that, though, I don't have anything else to rebut. Any more questions you may have of me?
Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you, sir. We'll bring it. No, I'm sorry, the public comments have closed. This is back to the commission once the rebuttal was over. We'll bring it back. Now it's to the commission for discussion and action. Anybody? Mr. Commissioner McKay.
Well, I think that the people, we keep referring to the Rocky Ford, these are the same people evidently. And you thought that was a pretty good plan. I imagine this gentleman or gentleman, whoever it might be, is developing this. They'll develop it probably similar to what it is to the north of it. So I'll make a motion at this point in time that we approve the zoning. And a lot of the questions that these folks are asking will be taken up in plating and be part of the requirement of plating.
So we have a motion to approve the zone request by Commissioner McKay with a second by Commissioner Dool. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Before we close the meeting, I would ask for the board support on this. We have an appointment to the Sustainability Board. This is a city council. That person has been Cindy Miles. If anyone else has interest in serving on that board, speak now, or otherwise I will reappoint her. Seeing none, my motion is to reappoint Cindy Miles to the Sustainability Board.
Glad she volunteered. Yeah.
Do I need a second for that?
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner Warren. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations, Commissioner Miles. With that, we are adjourned. Our next meeting is July 24th.